Hi everyone, we are just getting started in a few moments. We are going to be getting ready for Toilet Training 2.0. So we're just a few minutes before noon and we're so excited that you're here. So just give us a few moments, sit tight, and we'll be with you very shortly. So that's kind of like the overall idea after. This is not my first trip to the rodeo. The two guys. Hi everyone, we're going to get started very soon. It's just noon right now and we have a lot of registrants for this very popular and makes my heart happy because it's a popular topic for me. It's a popular topic for Vivi. We have lots of attendees who are registered today, so we're just going to give it about another minute to start the show. So sit back and relax, and we'll be with you in just a few moments. Hi everyone, if you're just joining us, welcome. We are just about ready to get started and we have a lot of participants today, so we're just going to give it a moment and we'll be starting soon. Hi everybody, you're hearing a voice from the depths of Zoom. This is Gretchen Richer. I am the Director of Family Experience at Vivi, and we're gonna forego the fact that you can't see my face, though if you are not new to our videos, you will realize that my face is everywhere, so maybe this is a nice break for everyone who's used to seeing me. We are gonna get started. It's so nice to have all of you. We've got a lot of participants today. I know this is such an important topic. And I'll just kick it off really quickly to let you know who we are at Vivi, what we do, and I'll turn it over to my amazing partner here, Jennifer Gillette, who is really going to be giving us some expert advice for the duration of our webinar. So as I said before, I'm Gretchen Richer, Director of Family Experience at Vivi. And Vivi as an organization, if you're just coming to us for the first time, we are reinventing childcare in support of meeting our families truly wherever they are. In New York City, we have 3 brick and mortar campuses to support families from 6 months to 5 years of age. And then nationally, we have taken our program and our model from that campus experience, including our curriculum and our wonderful teachers, and we bring that into your home so that our program has been able to expand nationwide. Before we get started, we are talking about Toilet Training 2.0 with Jennifer Gillette, and I'm going to have Jennifer introduce herself and what she does. But I know, not just as a mom of a 4-year-old who is has gone through the potty training process and is still in the potty training process, which feels like a almost lifelong journey at this point. I also know at Vivi it's just very important to us to partner with our families to ensure that at all milestones, potty training included, we're supporting them not only in partnership and planning, but also physically. Our preschool rooms have potties and bite-sized restrooms inside the classrooms to ensure that we're celebrating those milestones and we're all working on it together. So with that, I know this has been a really popular, we've got lots of great questions, which I hope you all know that that means that you're all in this together. You're all trying to think through these problems and these challenges as one community. And the great news is that Jennifer's going to talk a lot about and refer to a lot of the questions that you've asked in her webinar today. So without further ado, Jennifer, I will hand it over to you. I'm calling you Jennifer. I'm very formal today without my face.
You can call me Jen, Jennifer, just not Jenny. I'm tall. I don't look like a Jenny, but Jen and Jennifer, that's great. So maybe a good place to begin is what I'm not good at is technology. So thank you, Gretchen, for your patience around all the behind the scenes today. Personally, I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 3 now teenage boys, and I just want everybody to know that they are all wearing underpants and they're toilet trained. So that brings me to who I am professionally. I am a child development, behavior, and parenting expert, and I've been doing this work in the Boston area, supporting families with babies and young children for a long time, over 25 years. So as I always say, you can figure out how old I am. Parents, friends ask me, Jennifer, why in the world are you interested in talking about toilet training? And I just feel really fortunate, Gretchen, to be in parents' lives at this time, because this is probably the first time that these parents are realizing how little control they have in their children's lives. So I think this is a great time to get involved in a family's life. I think this is a great time for parents to think about integrating both child development and child behavior, and also temperament style. So if you guys have heard me at Vivi before, it's something that I often talk about, is that every child is unique and has his or her own style. The other reason I'd love to talk about toilet training and to support parents around this topic is this is a great time to look through a different parenting lens. Instead of focusing on how to control your child, maybe we can think about how best to respond and support our children. So here we go. We've got a lot to cover today. 2 important things, or maybe 3. After looking through all the questions that parents submitted beforehand, yes, we are talking about poop today. So take a deep breath, we'll get there. The other thing I wanted to bring up is, and I checked again yesterday to make sure my numbers were correct. If you were to look on Amazon right now, and you were to type in toilet training books, guess what? Over 10,000 books. What does that say to me? Gretchen, you've heard me say this before. I'm in the right career space, that this is something that's on parents' minds. And also, more importantly, there would be just one book if there were one way to do this. So I want to be very respectful of today. I'm going to be sharing a developmental, a child focused, a child led approach to responding to setbacks. But gosh, there are so many different ways to respond and to support toilet training. So there we go. I'm going to start up here. I can't remember how long ago it was when I was here and gave the initial overview. Again, a child-led focus to toilet training, but I know that Vivi has a recording of that.
Yep. And I think a lot of our, I'm imagining that a lot of our attendees may have taken a look at that prior to. We've sent it out a couple times, which is,
Awesome.
we've seen it really jump in viewership over the past couple days.
Oh,
So
good. Okay, great.
it's on our YouTube page for sure.
All right, great. So if you feel like, wait a minute here, I feel like I'm missing some information, it's probably in that overview. Because today, as you know from the title, we're going to be focused on setbacks. That being said, looking at a lot of the questions that were submitted beforehand, I did notice there were a bunch of questions. And so I tried to weave in some of those questions into today's session. Okay, so just so everybody knows, 80%, 8 out of 10 children have potty training setbacks. So maybe you were hoping that you guys were in the 20% group. Why do children have setbacks? Well, perhaps your child is just not ready physically and or developmentally for toilet training. So that reminds me, make sure that you, and maybe Gretchen can put in the chat the link to the potty training quiz that I provided the last time I was here.
Happy to.
Maybe your child doesn't understand the current potty training program. Maybe your little one is just too distracted right now by something else to stop to realize that she needs to pee and get to the potty in time. I always like to say your little ones are scientists. They are wired to learn about the world. And how do they learn about the world? It is through play. So stopping to go to the bathroom is not high on their priority list. Maybe your little one is focused and attempting to master new developmental skills and is just not interested in using the toilet. Maybe your child is bored or not motivated by your current potty training routine. Maybe your little one is fearful or uncomfortable about something. Or maybe, especially when we're talking about 2, 3, and 4-year-olds, maybe your little one is going through some other kind of power struggles right now at home, outside of potty training. And then maybe, not very likely, but perhaps there's a medical challenge that's going on. It takes two to tango, as I always say. Maybe something's going on with the parent or the loving caregiver. Maybe the adult just isn't ready to teach. Maybe the adult is going through his or her own life stresses, like a pandemic. Maybe you are not consistent in the toilet teaching plan. Or maybe grown-ups, we're making an incorrect assumption that potty accidents mean that the child isn't progressing successfully. We're going to be talking about that. Or maybe it has nothing to do with the parent and the child, and it just isn't a good fit. The plan that you've put in place is not a good fit for your family. So let's start with potty training accidents. So, as a parent myself, as I shared, of 3 children, I remember very clearly, as it was yesterday, that it's kind of frustrating dealing with accidents. It's messy, and it can be really unpleasant um, dealing with the cleanup. Or maybe you guys are dealing with a little anxiety. Is it normal that my 3.5-year-old is still having accidents? Or maybe you're worried about this upcoming trip to go visit grandparents, and you're worried about what the grandparents are thinking, that your little one is still having accidents. Or you're thinking about the camp that's starting this summer and your little one is still having accidents. Or, and in addition, maybe you're worried that you're doing something wrong. There's something in your parenting that is causing these accidents. Well, guess what, guys? Simply, as this slide says, no one is perfect, and especially 2, 3, and 4-year olds. Mistakes are part of any learning process. In fact, think about the tasks that your little ones are going through. Working on a puzzle, finding that correct space to put that puzzle piece in. They're going to make mistakes before they find the right spot. Or spoon feeding, or throwing a ball, or putting on their shoes. Trial and error, accidents are part of the learning process. Maybe our developmental expectations are off. So toddlers and preschools are taking leaps and bounds in many areas of development, talking in full sentences, climbing high play structures, knowing the labeling colors. And then we think, oh my gosh, they can do all of those things. We overestimate their cognitive abilities and maybe underappreciate how challenging it is and how complex it is to successfully use the toilet independently. So what I recommend when I'm working with parents in a group setting like this or individually is to put myself into the shoes of this little person and break down this process. So let's do that for a second. 1, this little person has to recognize and realize the physical cues that she needs to go pee. So the child needs to recognize those warning signs. 2, then have the impulse control to stop being a scientist and learning in that moment, to act, number 3, on those physical sensations, quickly get to the bathroom in time, take off those clothes, decide, am I going to sit on the potty or am I going to sit up on the grown-up toilet? And then to let go of the muscles that one constricts to keep the pee and the poop inside. And this is, the joke at this moment is I'm proud of myself that I can pull this off throughout the day. So if we can do that with our little ones, we can realize there's a lot of cognitive, physiological steps. Now, you might notice 1 or 2 things here. Maybe your little one has internalized the potty training process in your home, under your roof. But when they're outside of the home, they're more apt to have accidents. Totally makes sense. They haven't yet internalized the routine outside of the home. I often hear the exact opposite, that in the educational setting at Vivi, where there is a consistent routine in the day, little ones, and they're watching their peers, no problem. very few accidents. So it is normal if your child is in either one of those two camps. So how can we best support our little ones with their accidents? So as I said in the beginning, 80% of our little ones are having potty accidents. Be mindful as I put my shoulders down and back, my tone of voice. Our little ones are so good at reading how we truly feel about this challenging moment. They're so perceptive. Be prepared in advance. Any potty training method that you're going to use they're going to be accidents. I can assure you of that. So have the paper towels ready, have the cleaning products ready, set up your home, roll up those good rugs, get out the beach towels for the top of the couch or the waterproof mattress cover to put on the couch. I know folks that use inexpensive shower curtains, tarps, put them down in the play spaces. Don't worry, your life isn't always going to have a tarp on your couch. In that moment of the accident, make sure that you're responding compassionately. Get down at their eye level, have a hand on their body if that fits well with your child's temperament. Make sure that these cleanups are happening in the bathroom. Why? We want to help to make the connection between this place, this bathroom, this room is where we void, and it's also where we wash our hands. So helping a child with that connection with the cleanups is going to help in the long run. So you've got those fresh clothes in the bathroom. Give your little one a choice. Do you want to wear the blue undies or the green undies? Empower the little person. Let them know when you are doing that potty dance and you're touching, you can even touch their belly. This is when you do the potty dance, it's your body letting you know that it's time to visit the bathroom. Now, I love the idea of inviting your little one with the cleanup, if and only if he or she is interested in doing so. So it shouldn't feel like a punishment. I would strongly recommend, we know this from research, to focus on positive reinforcement. So when you see your child attempting to get to the bathroom, maybe they don't make it, but to focus on reinforcing the attempt to make it to the bathroom on time. In fact, when I was last at Vivi, I talked about catching 5 good behaviors to every 1 challenging behavior. It works here too with accidents. Try as much as possible to pick up on your child's attempts also to success. And then I mentioned connected moments and books in that I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this, and I'd be happy to share my list of potty books. When your child is not in that stressful moment of trying to pee on the potty or has just had an accident on grandma's oriental rug, connected moments, those times in the day that you're snuggled up or you're playing well together and your child, we say, is in his or her upstairs brain, that is the time to talk to them about the potty routine and to process the accidents that are happening at home. That's the time to explore potty training books.
Jen, I just want to jump in. Thank you for all of this. And I I know if you're in the thick of potty training, accidents are abounding. Or you might have a really successful 2 weeks and think, oh my gosh, I've missed this accident phase and then it comes back. And I, knowing that every child and every process is different as far as timing, are you imagining that like you may spend a good 6 months, you may spend a year with occasional accidents, and to also as parents maybe normalize, you said that from the beginning, but not just in the initial potty training phase, but like
Oh,
normalizing that
yeah,
component. Like
Gretchen,
it's okay, right?
yes, I'm so glad you're bringing that up. Yes, I'm normalizing that. And so, gosh, there will be some children that there'll be some accidents during the potty training teaching process, and then maybe there'll be no more. There'll be some children that accidents will come back at touch points in their development. When they're stressed about something, if they're working on an area of development, maybe you're going to be seeing more accidents. So yes, I very much want to normalize that accidents are very common in this toilet training process, and to let that guilt go, that this is not something about a parent doing or a teacher doing something wrong, that accidents are part of the regular learning process. Does that help, Gretchen?
Yeah, that helps. And I love that you also are really contemplating the whole child approach, because oftentimes I think we focus on the accident and not necessarily all of the things that are going on around the child. You said specific milestone, or, specific something's going on in their life, that when you look back and you pan outward to really look at what's happening, you realize, oh, well, of course you had an accident. It's X, Y, and Z. And I know you'll talk about resistance and the other things
Yes.
of this theme too.
Yep. So I often, when I'm supporting parents, I hear about accidents and or resistance. Where did this come from? Out of the blue, suddenly your little one is resistant to using the potty. So where does this come from? What I want to say outright is, please don't make the very common mistake of assuming that this resistance is around stubbornness or rebelliousness in terms of the child. Gretchen has heard me say this over and over again, and it really is the foundation of my work. Children do well when they can. Children do well when they can. So when a child isn't doing well, meaning you're seeing accidents, you are having this sensation, you're seeing some resistance, it most likely is because your little person is lacking in that time developmental skills and or self-regulation skills. Something is going on. This is not something purposeful in terms of to get at the parent. So let's go into why we might see resistance. Again, temperament. Depending on your child's temperament style, especially around traits of sensitivity, regularity, adaptability, persistence, and Gretchen can share my temperament survey. Maybe there is a recent change in the family. Maybe there's a new baby. Maybe there have been house guests. Maybe there's a pandemic going on. The holidays, a parent is returning to work, starting a new school, move to a new classroom. Maybe there's a fear that's going on now that's causing this resistance, like the sound of the flushing or worrying about yesterday missed pee outside of the toilet, or maybe your little one is worried about disappointing a teacher, a parent, or is worried about a punishment. Maybe your little one is grappling with a really strong memory of pain when attempting to poop. Or maybe your little one is resistant because they're overwhelmed with the pace of this current toilet training plan. and they feel more comfortable back in that diaper or pull up. Or was your little one recently sick and had diarrhea or constipation? Is there a diaper rash? Or you returned from a trip and the whole routine was off. Or maybe your child is just indifferent to this training plan. Or for a lot of these kids, maybe your little person is realizing that they can delay going to the bathroom, and they have learned that they can hold that poop and or pee in response to stress that they're feeling or pressure from their parents. So this might just be a way in that moment to have a sense of control. So how can we handle our children's resistance to using the potty? I recommend in those moments of connection, so when they're in that upstairs brain, we visit, not in that moment of stress of trying to use the potty or a moment of an accident, but when we're cuddled up, revisiting with the child, why, asking them why they're not going and using the potty like they had been before. You can use a sometimes statement. Sometimes little ones stop using the potty because they don't like going into the bathroom when they're playing. Or I remember when I was little, I stopped using the potty because grandma came to visit. I love the power of those sometimes statements. I also think it's important that there is nothing wrong with taking time off. And I know what people are now wondering, well, Jennifer, how long can I take off from this process? Depending on your child, if you're feeling a lot of resistance, you can take 5 days off. You could even take 2 weeks off and then come back to a revised and simplified plan. But here's the thing. We want to, during that break, empower our children so that they're part of this new routine. Make sure that this new routine is fun. So, for example, real concrete ideas now, maybe you're going to make a countdown calendar together, a poster that shows each step of the toilet training routine. So you're taking, and I shared this in the first session around toilet training, maybe you're going to have photographs of your children acting out each step of the potty training process. Or maybe you're going to create with your little person a potty book and show so that your child can hold this little book that has the pictures of them doing each part of the process. What I'm trying to get at here is after that break, you want to make sure that this is a child-led process, that this isn't a top-down, that your child feels like he or she is in control of his or her body.
I
So
love that. I'm sorry, I know you can't see me, so I feel like I'm interrupting.
no
I love that
problem.
idea, and I've tried to take the whole resistance because my son really loves to. It is very much a control and power thing that I've realized, as well as I just don't want to stop doing what I'm doing, and I realize you can't make me. I can do it myself. But if we actually flip it and make it fun, like we race to the bathroom, or I have to go. No, you're going to get in front of me. No, I'm going to get in front of you, and kind of take him out of the I'm making you go, you're making me stop. It's oh, it's a game, or it's purely play based. It's a nice distraction that actually reminds him, oh, I do actually have to go.
Yes. And we're going to be talking about, I'm going to throw a whole bunch of effective, fun strategies in the parent toolboxes today about that. Because remember what I said in the beginning, these little ones are so perceptive of our bodies, our facial reactions, the way that we're holding our shoulders, the tone of our voices. So yes, fun is key. Fun is key. Well, so Gretchen, here we are at poop.
Something that's not so fun if you're
Yeah,
refusing to go.
exactly. And to put, to put a little bit of a serious spin on this, unfortunately, when we start talking about holding in poop and pee, it can become a medical. And maybe there's some folks that are here today that have experienced poop holding and pee holding, and it's been something that has literally brought them to the pediatric practice. So,
Jen, it does seem like this is a pretty obviously it's common because this is part of your webinar, but
yes,
I guess it is a good reminder that because we've had so many people jump in and ask this question, that it is almost part of a natural evolution of how we learn to go. And I know there's some like in general refusal to poop, but we also had a whole slew of people who pooping in the diaper is the only way they'll go. So I know you'll continue to talk about that.
yeah, I mean, in terms of, me and science-backed support, I remember when I read this statistic, I was blown away. 30% of little ones are chronically constipated. So 3 to 5% of pediatric visits are due to constipation. And this is all connected, hold tight guys, with holding poop. So why do some of our little ones, as Gretchen says, a lot of our little ones resist pooping on the potty? Well, gosh, guys, it takes a long time for that poop to come out. So as I was said, your kid is wired to learn about the world. No, thank you. I don't want to sit there and wait for this poop to come out of my body. And or imagine, guys, for all these months, I've allowed this poop to come out of my body in a diaper next to, and so the poop is, I'm getting right down there, guys. I'm used to this soft sensation next to my skin. And now you're asking me just to let it drop out of my body into a potty, into a toilet. Maybe your little one, and I hope I'm bringing some smiles here. Maybe your little one is used to pooping standing up or moving around or crouching behind the couch. And now we're asking them to sit on a toilet. Maybe your little one just doesn't understand, where in the world does this poop go? Or as I said previously, maybe your little one has a memory of a really hard poop coming out and they don't want to have that sensation again. So I want to share now some suggestions for all of you that have a little one that's refusing to poop on the potty. The first thing is, not surprisingly, I want you to increase fluids dramatically. So obviously water, but other fruit juices like apple and pear and prune juice. We're going to stay away though from citrus juice. I want you to increase fiber-rich foods, so apples and pears with the peels on, please. Beans, high-fiber cereal, whole grain bread, baked potatoes, berries and seeds. And we're going to stay away from constipating foods like white rice, bananas, dairy products, cooked carrots. And foods that are high in fat content. This should be a little bit easier for you guys to deal with constipation. We want our little ones to be on the move, which tends to work well with 2, 3, and 4-year-olds. I want these poop accidents, if you are dealing with poop accidents, as I said previously, to cleanups, to happen in the bathroom if at all possible. Gretchen, I want everybody, there's a slide from the first session. I want to make sure that there is a stool. The stool, I mean, not number 2, but a stool that one can put their feet on if they're using the big toilet. Then everybody take notes. This technique has found to be very helpful. Remember, I talked about breaking down, putting yourself in the shoes of your little person. Instead of just taking off that diaper, there is a process that I am now going to describe that you can do that can help and support your little one. So instead of jumping right to, I'd like you to poop in this blue potty or in this big toilet, what about with your diaper on, with your pull-up on, hey, right now for the next week, we're going to poop standing up, crouching, on your side, whatever works in the bathroom, just in the bathroom, in this space. After that piece of this process is successful, now let's move on to maybe with that diaper on, with that pull-up, letting your little person sit on the toilet or on the potty with that diaper on. Then this can work really well. You can take, if this is on the potty, please don't put a diaper or a pull-up in a grown-up toilet. You can even put in the potty a diaper or a pull-up as a pillow to catch the poop. So you can try that for a couple days. Or a wonderful trick is you can cut a little flap in that diaper, in that pull-up. So the child still has the sensation of having that diaper on, that pull-up on, but they realize, hey, I'm okay. The poop comes out the flap. What I don't want you to do is to force your little person to sit on a potty, on the toilet, to push the poop out. If there's a poop ready to come out, same with us grown-ups, it needs to come, it will come out naturally. So we're not going to ask our children to poop. We're not going to ask them to sit there for long periods of time. How about playing soft music? So that every time they hear that soft music, they make the connection of trying to poop. How about inviting them to use the bathroom about 45 minutes after they eat? There's a wonderful natural reflex that happens after we eat. I don't want to get too specific, but I think a lot of grown-ups know about this. We're more apt to poop in that time frame after we eat. Maybe there is a book that your little one always reads. Maybe you're going to do this ritual where you rub their bellies right before you ask them to use the potty. So as I promised, I wanted to share a couple tips for success around accidents, around resistance. And I would say one of the most common questions I get is it okay if I use things like M&Ms, rewards, stickers, to help my child be successful in this learning process? Well, guess what, guys? If you are going down that road or curious about it, you're in the camp of about 80% of parents use prizes and rewards. What I ask is, if possible, please don't use food. I would prefer that we don't use food as a type of reward. And the other rule that I often bring up is that instead of rewarding the peeing and the pooping, we reward the attempt to pee and poop, so that we reward the child following this new routine, which is including hand washing. That we, the power of praise, verbal praise, catching 5, as I said previously, 5 positive behaviors to 1 negative or 1 challenging. Maybe you're going to use, every child is different. Maybe you're going to put together a sticker chart. Make sure when you design that sticker chart with your child that it's very easy to get a sticker. So it's not you get a sticker when you successfully poop on the potty, it's you get a sticker for choosing the blue potty or the toilet. You get a sticker for mommy pulling down your pants or you pulling down your pants. Maybe you're going to have a potty treasure box that your little one is going to unwrap, a little inexpensive toy after washing his or her hands. Other tips for success, you're going to have that countdown calendar after you take that break, as I described. You're going to have that fun photo shoot, that photo book, or a poster that is going to highlight each step of the potty training process. Another tip, no clothes today. So this is something obviously we would do on a long weekend. You're going to go with all of your child's interesting, fun quirks. I shared this, I have permission. My eldest son used to like to squat on top of the grown-up toilet. Terrified me, all 4s, to go poop. I just went with it. Maybe there's a pandemic, but we know why pottying at daycare works so well. Maybe you're going to have a potty play date. Maybe you're going to drop some cereal into the potty and your little one is going to try to pee on top of those Cheerios. Maybe, as Gretchen shared, you're going to make a game of it. Do you want to fly like an airplane to the bathroom, or do you want to fly like a dragon? Maybe you're going to have a basket of potty books that you're going to give your little one a choice to look at. Pick one before sitting on the potty. As I said, you're going to have maybe potty music. Maybe during your pretend play, during that connected moment, you are going to act out with stuffed animals, puppets, this potty routine. So, Gretchen, what I'd like to do now is talk about a couple of the potty, the routine, the challenges that I often hear about. And then maybe we can have people ask questions via chat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think maybe part of the frequent potty challenges that are probably included in here is maybe bedwetting / nighttime potty training versus daytime. Full disclosure, and I'm really I'm leaning into it. My 4-year-old son is pull-ups at night, and I know there's a reason behind it, and there's nothing I can do about it until he starts to have that muscle. So maybe combo with pull-ups and training pants. But yeah, that sounds perfect.
Love it. Well, so I've been doing a lot of work with Gretchen right now. So if this is going to help her son, then I'm all for it. As a developmentalist, a reminder to all, if I didn't mention it in this session, I know I did in the previous session. This might be a surprise to many of you. When we talk about a little one being toilet trained, guess what? We're only talking about daytime toilet training. We we are not expecting a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and you know what? Not even a 5-year-old to be sleep time dry. Does that mean that your 3-year-old might not be sleep time dry? One of my children, when he was daytime dry, he was nighttime dry. The other child, it was years later. So to Gretchen's point, it has to do, this nighttime dryness has to do with their body physiologically. Also, a lot has to do with genetics. So please do not be concerned if your 3.5-year-old is not nighttime, sleep time dry. Okay, this is going to come with development and maturity. So that's very important, which is connected to Gretchen's next question around, oh my gosh, we see out there diapers, we see pull-ups, we see cotton undies, and then I know some of these undies are still cotton, but then we see those character undies. Let me share my thoughts about this. Consistency is a must with these little ones. So if you feel, you did the developmental readiness quiz, and you feel that your little person is ready, you involved him or her in this new routine, my recommendation is to give your child a choice. Do you want to wear the blue undies or the green undies? Do you want to wear the blue undies or your birthday suit? And then save the pull-ups and the diapers for the sleep time. Does that help, guys? Gretchen, does that answer your question?
Love it.
You love it. Good. Super. Well, let's see. How about fear of flushing? That's an easy one. Your child can leave the bathroom. You can visit the public library bathroom. When your child doesn't need to use the bathroom, and they can explore that bathroom and they can try pressing, you can put a paper towel in front of the automated sensor. You can go to Home Depot and you can go to the plumbing section and you can mess around and explore those toilets. All of those ideas right there are going to help your child over time. Are we going to force our children to feel comfortable with flushing? It's just not necessary. I'm not a big believer in purchasing a lot of stuff, but guess what? If you haven't already, there are wonderful products on the market, travel potties that you can have in the back of your car, in your diaper bag, even in your purse, that can be easily brought with you so your little one feels more comfortable in those public bathrooms. Playing with poop. I don't know if anybody, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand. I'll just say this, 1 out of my 3 did. It's very common. It is a process of exploration. Our little ones are not thinking about their poop as being icky or dirty or stinky. We want to stay very calm and neutral. And as I talked about in positive discipline at Vivi, we want to make sure that we state the no with the yes. It's not okay down at their eye level to play with your poop. You can play with this instead. And yes, this too shall pass over time. Gretchen, I want to make sure that I share this slide before we open up to more questions. It's really important that everybody be familiar with these different times that we need to stop training and get involved with our pediatrician. And I want to jump right to the bottom there. As I shared, some of us feel, and maybe it's because we're anxious, maybe we just have so much going on, maybe we're parenting during a pandemic, But if you feel like you are getting excessively frustrated, impatient, angry around this toilet training process, take a break. Take a break. Let your child be in control. Do you want to wear pull-ups or do you want to wear diapers? Take some days off, some weeks off, and come back to the process after you've empowered them and invited them to be part of the new routine. And then I wanted to share on this last slide that these 3 books here are some of my favorites out of the 10,000 that are on Amazon. This last one, It's No Accident. Folks aren't familiar with his work, or a lot of people aren't. He's a great website, but he's the one that I often recommend this book to folks that have little ones that are holding in their poop and that are not interested in pooping in into the potty or into the toilet. This book is fantastic in addressing that challenge. So Gretchen, that's what I have on my end. Not bad. 5 minutes.
I love it. I love it. We've got a couple questions I'm going to throw at you. One is, I'm just going to go back to poop really quickly. When we've got children who are still wanting to poop in their diaper or their pull-up, but you have essentially been toilet training them and want to use underwear, what do you do in the daytime when, like, do you keep them in pull-ups? Do you keep them in underwear? What is your
What's my suggestion around that?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, going back to the very, very first slide, we cannot make our children poop in a potty or in a toilet. So the first thing is we've got to come up with a plan that the child feels like he or she is in control of his or her body. Yeah, we can do things like I recommended, really increasing the fluids, increasing the fiber so that these poops are coming out easily. But my recommendation is to change our goal. It's not to poop in the potty or on the toilet, but rather let's move closer and closer to that bathroom. Gretchen, you're bringing back a memory where I worked with a family and it was not even pooping in the bathroom. It was, would the child poop in his pull-up at the entrance of the bathroom? It took 2 weeks to get to that place. That's okay. That's cool. And then after that 2 weeks, then we asked the little one to poop in his pull-up just in the bathroom. He was curled up on his side. Check. We got that completed. And then the next step was to sit on the potty with his pull-up on. Check. Got that off. So a month later, we were so patient. We worked with him. I had, just like you see at Vivi on the walls, we had this all mapped out on a chart so that the little person could follow along each step. Does that help?
Yeah,
so again,
love that.
Change your expectations. We're not going to jump right to pooping on a toilet. We're going to break it down into little developmental manageable steps.
I love it.
Good.
Thank you. I'm going to transition a little bit over to thinking about school versus home. And one of the great things about that I personally love about Vivi is that we try to work with you and we specifically support the same language that you're using at home or the same plan that you're using at home. And we also honor accidents in a really supportive and thoughtful and empathetic way. And so I'm just wondering if, you know, children having accidents at home versus school versus out in public, are they feeling any different, or is there an expectation that they're thinking about how that feels around them, or is that a little bit older from a developmental?
Yeah, Gretchen, it's really interesting to me. There are some kids, they can internalize the home routine. So on the weekends, no accidents or maybe very few, very little resistance. And they go into school it's a, they're seeing more accidents, more resistance. Then I see, and more often, to be completely honest, the exact opposite, that the little ones are more apt to have fewer accidents, fewer moments of resistance in school. And I get that. Teachers are so good because the day is so consistent and clear, and the children know exactly what is expected of them. So here's the little secret that I know I've shared before with Vivi parents is those routine charts that I often recommend, or the potty bell technique that I recommended in the first session. A lot of that is around the parent.
Yeah.
We need to be reminded that it's time. Oh my gosh, the potty bell just went off. Hey, Tommy, do you want to go upstairs or do you want to go downstairs? Do you want to use the blue potty or do you want to use daddy's toilet?
That's great. So,
Right?
so continuous reminders until you feel like they don't need a reminder is totally fine, right?
Totally fine.
And so I would also say, as you're all thinking about school, it is absolutely okay and necessary for you to connect with your teachers and ask how it's going. And I know from a Vivi perspective, really trust that they're going to come back and tell you both how your child is feeling about it when they do have accidents, but also if you don't feel like their teachers are reminding enough, please feel free to speak up and share that with your team. I know they want to be on the same aligned path as you. So it's always okay to say, can I jump on the phone and chat with either what's going well at home or what's going well at school and vice versa, for sure.
Gretchen, as you know, I'm so fond of the Vivi and the educational model where, obviously a developmentally based model, a child-led model here. This is something when I'm talking to parents about when they're looking for appropriate childcare or preschool settings. Yes, the teacher, please reach out and talk to the teacher about your individual child. That's a red flag to me if a teacher is not willing to work with the family around the individual child's needs.
I love that. Thank you. And I'm going to ask one more question because we're 1 minute over. A couple really quick, good languages to use when the children do have their accident. Framing it in a way that it's positive, but also we're going to work towards the future.
I'm so glad you're saying that because, of course, we don't want to be jumping up and down and clapping our hands when they're having an accident, right?
Right.
We don't want to send that message, but of course, it's okay. You don't need to be a perfect parent to be a great parent. We also don't want to yell or to shame or to punish when there's an accident or resistance. So it's okay. I like it's okay. I like sometimes statements as I shared, but what I love is that you get down on their level and you touch their body. Again, if that's a good fit for the child. So I'm talking about literally touching their belly, because anything we can do to help them make that connection between the physiological process, holding those sphincter muscles, and the child learning how to do so, it's just going to be helpful.
Thank you so much. We could talk about the toilet training all day. I know I'm sure that our families can too. This is so much information and such wonderful information, and what a wonderful way of bringing your heart and your head into this process. What we love so much about you at Vivi. For all of you here, we're going to send a bunch of resources out as follow-ups. Certainly you got that link about the readiness quiz. We'll send the temperament quiz and a couple of references from Jen. But please do know that this is a process. You are on the right track. You are doing it well. You have already a win by showing up today. And we wish you a lot of luck in the future here. Thank you, Jen.
You're so welcome. It was great to be here again. And good luck, everyone. And of course, be in touch with your teacher, be in touch with me. Yes, the way we respond to this toilet training process is the foundation that how we're going to respond to future parenting challenges.
I love that. That's a perfect way to end. Well, thanks everyone. And thank you, Jen. And we'll see
You're
you
welcome.
soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.